Hi, this is James Jokum, host of Webcomics Reviews and Interviews. Tonight is reviews, good and bad, so sit back, relax, and let the Geek Fest begin. Understandably, there's going to be a lot of trepidation when it comes to submitting your comic for review. I mean, let's get real. Nobody wants to hear anything bad said about their baby, and this is definitely going to apply to something you put a little bit of heart and soul into. But if you're serious about comics and you actually want to get ahead, you're going to have to submit your comic for review at some point in time. It doesn't matter if it's the digital version or if it's dead tree mode. I mean, straight up. Either way, you're going to have to get it reviewed. And the easiest way to do it is basically find a reviewer and submit your stuff to them. Now, I can understand why this is going to be a major nerve-wracking situation. I mean, let's get real. You're basically trusting that whatever you're saying or doing is going to be something that the critic likes and is therefore going to give it a slightly better, honest review than if it's something he doesn't like. Well, the problem is that reviews ultimately, obviously, are subjective. That is, if you hit the reviewer with something he likes and it's a great day, you're going to get a great review. On the other hand, if it's something he hates and he's having a bad day, yeah, you're going to get pretty much a bad review out of it. However, this shouldn't stop you from trying to submit your stuff for review. There's a couple of really great reasons for doing this, and, well, let's start off with the obvious. Good old-fashioned bragging rights. I mean, straight up. This is somebody who's taking time out of their life to basically look at your book, to see how it looks, see how it feels, see how it reads, and has actually decided to give some honest feedback about that particular item. Yeah, it's not always going to be great. It's not always going to be incredible. Sometimes it's going to suck. But nonetheless, there's that part of your ego that goes, one way or another, this person took time out of their life for my advancement. And there's something that just makes you feel all warm and gooey inside. At the very least, because of the few comics that are actually reviewed, that gives you a certain level of cred that very few other people can actually match. You know, you've gotten a certain level of legitimacy, and all of a sudden you now have somebody who actually knows that you exist. You know that somebody knows that you exist, and there's just something just mildly euphoric about that. If it happens to be a great review, hey, you're going to be going for cloud nine, no problem. But still, just having your stuff reviewed, even no matter how often you've had it reviewed, is still going to make you feel sort of warm and gooey and sort of comfy and wanting to go out and get a beer, you know? It's just sort of cool. On top of that, you can use the review for publicity's sake. That is, you can now point out to other people that you're trying to get into your book that, well, hey, somebody actually noticed we exist, somebody actually gave us a critique, and you can actually go out and check out their critique, see how it matches against your values, and based on that, decide if you want to buy my book or not. Now, the really cool part of this is that if you have a mainstream reviewer, that is somebody who tends to be a little bit more towards the vanilla side of stuff, and they don't like your book, well, that's actually something you can count towards the positive side. I mean, think about this for a second. You've decided to basically go with the fact that this person said something bad about your book, and you didn't like the guy's opinion in the first place. So yeah, at that point, you've proven that you're good, that person's an idiot, and you can actually use that and spin it that way to basically say, hey, look at this guy who just reviewed my book and he's a total idiot. Just look at the way he reviewed the book, see if you disagree with them, and based on how strongly you disagree with them, go ahead and buy the book. And of course, obviously, if the review is positive, well, 9 times out of 10, that person obviously agreed with you and saw the same things you saw, and therefore, hey, you've still got something really cool. Either way, generally speaking, whenever your book gets reviewed, you're going to see a jump in sale. I mean, straight up, it's basically good old-fashioned free advertising. It may not be the advertising you want, it may not be the advertising you like, but nonetheless, it's free advertising. You can't beat it. Plus, on top of, like you said, this gives you a certain level of cred. This puts you a step above anybody who hasn't been reviewed. Yeah, I know there's a certain level of exclusivity there, but, you know, it's just straight up. You've done something that not a lot of other people have done. You've taken another step that they haven't, and that alone gives you a certain, well, cred when it comes to actually getting your stuff done. At that point, you've got reviews, you've got stars, you've got some information they can use to basically decide if they want the book or not. That credibility is sort of really cool for your sales figure. So definitely, just for the sake of publicity alone, you definitely want to submit your book for a review. Last but not least, there's the critique itself. Straight up, this is actually probably the important part for getting your book reviewed. Sure, you're going to feel good, you're going to have some great sales numbers after, but at the same time, having your stuff critiqued by somebody who might actually know what they're doing is definitely going to help your book, just because it's going to help you figure out ways to make it better, figure out ways where you can improve, and basically stay right where you're at as far as doing the stuff that you're doing good. What's this basically translated is that a good reviewer will look at the writing, will see if there's some problems with the dialogue, with the characterization, with the plot, and will basically report back on that. At the same time, they'll also look at the artwork, see if it's crisp, if it's clear, if it's too muddy, if the colors are way off, if its colors are working. You know, we'll basically look at the overall art, and again, give you a general idea what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong as far as that's concerned. Obviously, take this feedback with a certain grain of salt. After all, this person does have their own values and what they're supposed to be looking for. And what they're looking for isn't necessarily the same stuff that you were trying to do as a comic. That's fine. Not all comics are going to try, just like all experiments sometimes do fail. You've got to allow for that. Plus, on top of that, like I said at the beginning of this, a lot of reviews tend to be subjective. If you have somebody who prefers mainstream vanilla type stuff, they're going to be judging things a lot different than somebody who likes their stuff out on the fringe. If you've got somebody who has a little bit of fun, a little bit of artistic background, they're going to be doing it entirely different than somebody who's strictly literary. So try to figure out what's going on with the review, use whatever you're hearing in the review, and make your comic better based on that critique. So yeah, when it comes down to it, overcome your trepidation, submit the comic for review, and I think you might actually be impressed by what happened. Well, with a little bit of luck. But definitely, get it out. If you're serious about marketing, you're serious about wanting to get people to read your book, this is the best way to do it. So remember that. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.